Good afternoon. I'd like to call this regular meeting of the Eagle Pass Independent School District to order. The time is 5:33. We will now go to the Pledge of Allegiance. Mr. Mijares, will you please lead us to the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one indivisible.
Thank you. We will now go through roll call. Ms. Hilda P. Martinez, Vice President, present. Dr. Hector Alvarez, Secretary, will be here in a little bit. Ms. Glenda Parcell, Trustee, present. Ms. Lupita Fuentes, Trustee, present. Mr. Christopher Hiller, Trustee, present. Mr. Samuel Mijares, Superintendent of School, present. And Mr. Richard Strieber, Attorney, present. And myself, Jorge Barrera, present. We will now move to public hearing on School First Rating, Financial Accountability Rating System of Texas. And no one has signed up, correct? We still looking at it, Richard? No. Yeah. Okay. It is open at this point. It is 5:34. And since no one did sign up, we will close it. It is 5:35 and it is now closed. We will move to citizens' communications and recognitions. We don't have anybody signed up for citizens' communications, so we will move to recognitions. We will move to number 1, recognition of Eagle Pass High School students Colin J. Caballero and Cuauhtemoc N. Saucedo for the National Merit Scholarship recognition.
Good evening, Mr. President, distinguished members of the board, and of course, Superintendent Mijares. Thank you for allowing me to spend some time with you this evening. Our first recognition for tonight will be to recognize 2 Eagle Pass High School seniors for being recognized as commended with the National Merit Scholarship Program. Colin Caballero and Cuauhtemoc Saucedo have joined the ranks of 34,000 commended students across the country recognized for their exceptional academic promise. Commended students placed among the top 5% of more than 1.5 million students who entered the competition by taking the preliminary SAT and MSQT Merit Scholarship qualifying test their junior year of high school. Students such as these 2 fine young men play a key role to the advancement of educational excellence. We congratulate them and hope that this recognition will help broaden their educational opportunities as they continue to strive in their pursuit in academic excellence. Congratulations, Colin and Cuauhtemoc, and keep on succeeding. At this time, we invite the parents to come forward. Congratulations.
Next up is recognition of Eagle Pass High School students Eloy Montalvo Rebecca Gonzalez, Valeria Saya Marquina, and Zenaida Rodriguez for receiving the National Hispanic Recognition, the National Rural and Small Town Recognitions by the College Board National Recognition Program.
Eagle Pass High School is proud to announce that 3 of their very own Eagles have been recognized by College Board in not 1, but 2 separate recognitions. Eloy Montalvo, Rebecca Gonzalez, Valeria Saya Marquina, and Zenaida Rodriguez excelled remarkably on their PSAT assessment their sophomore year of school. This outstanding performance has earned them a place among some of College Board's elite. The group of students received not only the National Hispanic Recognition, but also the National Rural and Small Town Recognition. These recognitions will help them with scholarship opportunities and college entrance forms. Congratulations, Eagles, and way to represent EPISD and Eagle Pass. Do we have any parents?
Next is recognition of Eagle Pass ISD principals in celebration of National Principals Month as proclaimed by Texas Governor Greg Abbott.
Our next recognition is in honor of our amazing EPISD principals. Through visionary leadership and tireless pursuit of success for each student, principals guide and support their schools in ways large and small every day. Now, the key to student success is a great school, and the key to a great school is a great principal. National Principals Month is our way of honoring their dedication and thanking them for all they've done. EPISD would like to wish all of our principals a happy Principals Month and let you know we appreciate your leadership and dedication to our students and staff. This one's for you.
Next is recognition of Juan N. Seguin Elementary for being selected as the most clean and maintained campus for the month of September 2021.
Inspections have been conducted on a daily and weekly basis on how well EPISD school grounds have been maintained. There have been visitations to not only school campuses, but district buildings as well. This month's recommendation goes out to Juan Seguin Elementary on their merits for an outstanding job on maintaining the school grounds clean and safe. Thanks to the hard work and dedication from the Longhorns, the school achieved a total score of 65 out of 65, a perfect score. Congratulations, Longhorns, on your campus beautification.
Next is a recognition of the Eagle Pass Independent School District's Human Resources Department in celebration of Texas Education Human Resources Day on October 13, 2021, as proclaimed by Governor Greg Abbott.
Our final recognition this evening is for our amazing Human Resources Department. October 13th has been designated as HR Awareness Day by Governor Greg Abbott. In his proclamation, the governor recognizes the contributions made by human resource professionals across the state of Texas. These contributions include recruiting new talent, compliance with labor laws, educating Texans about health and safety, workplace ethics, and so much more. Thank you to the tireless work that this group of people do. Our district is able to continue to foster strong work relationships because of you. Thank you, HR. Your work truly does not go unnoticed. At this time, we do have a resolution signed by our superintendent, Mr. Samuel Mijares, for Human Resources Day. Whereas the Human Resources Division is instrumental in recruiting, selecting, resourcing, and retaining quality staff in support of providing an excellent education for all students. And whereas Human Resources plays a key role in fostering satisfaction and loyalty among employees by allowing for professional growth and development and keeping employees informed about policies, working conditions, compensation, and benefits. And whereas Human Resources monitors and manages current and future workforce trends, organizational culture, legal and legislative trends, and ethical and societal responsibility. And whereas Human Resources is an important part of district leadership and is vital to the overall productivity and efficiency of the district's workforce. And whereas Human Resources is a valued and respected department that sustains the district's most important asset, its people. Therefore, the Board of Trustees of the Eagle Pass Independent School District does hereby resolve that October 13th, 2021 will be observed as Texas Education Human Resources Day throughout the district. The board encourages students, staff, and parents to express their appreciation to our Human Resources team members for their dedication and commitment to Eagle Pass ISD employees and students. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Byrne. And congratulations to everybody. We will now move to district reports and presentations. We will take 1, 2, 3, and 4 together. And if we have any questions, we have Mr. Mijares. How are we doing?
we do have an update, and this is the first time we presented in a board meeting. We're looking at a revenue state funding shortfall for this year. I'm gonna pass this out so you can pass it on.
I'm sorry, it's just real quick, just note, Trustee Victor Perry is here.
The finances of the district, there's two things that we need to monitor on an ongoing basis. One is the revenue, that's what funds our budget. The other are the expenditures, which is what we have to pay to operate our vendors and so forth, and payroll. Expenditures, when you look at our finances for this year and for the budget, we're gonna be doing pretty good with the expenditures. We have initiatives in place that we've been doing for 2 years. We're carrying over those initiatives for this year again. So on the expenditure side, we will be seeing some cost savings the way we've done it in the last 2 years. If everybody has a copy of that graph that I just did, since the expenditures we really don't have to worry about, the revenues are something that we do have to worry about for this budget that just started. The reports that you have there are for the first month, September, through the 1st through the 30th. That's our first month into our new budget. And we just started the budget and we've been monitoring the revenues. Now, our attendance for the first 6 weeks, there's 6 weeks. Our first 6 weeks is about 30 days of the 180 days that we have of instruction. So we already have the first 6 weeks. And whenever we have the first 6 weeks, that's the first thing we're gonna look at to give us an indication as to how things are looking when it has to do with state funding. State funding is a major part of our budget. It funds most of our budget. So our attendance for the first 6 weeks compared to last year, as you see in the first graph there, it went from about 98% to about 92%. We've never had such a reduction in attendance. That's our attendance rate. In our history, we never had such a decrease. And it's a major decrease. That correlates directly to your average daily attendance, which you see on the far right graph. It's a direct correlation. If your attendance rate goes down, your average daily attendance or ADA is gonna go down, because that's how we get funded, based on the kids being in the classroom. So that's going down. So we're being hit there. The other one is enrollment. We're also being hit by enrollment. You see there, we have a major reduction in enrollment. And it's a pretty big reduction. And it's going from 14,000 and something to about $13.2 million, 13,202. So we were just looking at enrollment, which we do not get funded on enrollment, but if we would just take the dollar amount that the enrollment is going down by, we would be losing $6.5 million. And that usually is the case. Enrollment is a direct correlation to our ADA when your attendance rate stays the same. So here, we're gonna be hit by the attendance rate. It'll affect that average daily attendance, which is what we get funded on. And the enrollment is also a direct correlation to the average daily attendance, because the less kids you have, the probability your enrollment is gonna go down, your attendance is gonna go down. So when we look at the attendance, the ADA for the first 6 weeks, we still have 5 more 6 weeks to go, 150 days of instruction. But for the first 6 weeks, if that was to be a good indication where we're gonna be losing $12 million in state funding. That's a big impact. I've never seen such a reduction like that. Now, this is what we're gonna do with it. We have a plan. We still have 5 more 6 weeks to go, and we're on the first month of our budget. So what we're looking at, if you look at our fund balance, we did really good with fund balance. If we had not, our fund balance was $17.4 million just last year. If we had continued with the fund balance, this blow would have completely crippled us. We would not be able to get out of it, at least not in a good way. But however, we were able to increase our fund balance by over $33 million. So our fund balance now, and that is our fund balance on the M&O, we were able to increase it to $51.7 million. It could not have been at a better time to have a very good fund balance. So that would be able to sustain the $12 million reduction better than not having such a good fund balance. However, like I said, if we continue and we continue doing what we've been doing for the last 2 years and continue, I check every single purchase that goes through the district and make sure that we only buy what we need, not what we want, and continue in this cost-saving modes that we've been, I am projecting that we do that, we maximize the ESSER funds, which we just today we were able to maximize more federal funding. I think we were able to get about $600,000 just by seeing how we can increase our funding from the federal source, because we have local, state, and federal. So we continue doing that. Even if we do have a $12 million deficit in the state funding, I do feel comfortable that we will be able to offset all of it. So I do feel comfortable, even worst case scenario, that we will not have to dip into that 51.7 million by us continuing doing what we're doing right now. We've been doing it for the last 2 years, and we know what we need to do. And if it was in another situation, we would not be able to do this, but I think we will be able to get out of this reduction in funding from the state. Now, I do want to give you another piece of the information here. TA is gathering all this information from all the school districts, and we've gotten some information from TA that they might provide some type of relief, because EPISD is not the only one that has been affected because of COVID, and that's why our attendance has gone down by that much. It is a statewide issue, and they're looking at it, and they're hoping that they might bail us out and give us some relief. But even if we don't, I feel comfortable that we should be okay this year. Are there any questions?
No.
Okay, thank you.
Just a comment. These $12 million do not include FTEs from special ed, bilingual, and so forth.
Yeah, the estimate can be, since it's the first semester, it can be between $12 and $14 million. It can vary. The state, the FTEs for special ed went down. The FTEs for Kate went down because enrollment doesn't impact. So it will vary between 12 and 14. Now, like I said, even 14, if we continue what we've been doing right now, and it's been working, we will be able to offset those $12 to $14 million. I feel pretty confident of that. So I don't want anybody to start panicking that we're still going to be able to continue doing what we're doing. We're hoping that TA does come up with some funding. They have already indicated that whatever the kind of funding that they do come up with, we'll have to look at it. Now, if they say, just take it from ESSER funds, well, I'm here to tell the board they're not going to give us more money, because if they decide to take it from the ESSER funds, they're just robbing Peter to pay Paul. So all the ESSER funds, all the cost savings funds, and everything's already embedded as to what the school district is doing, so that we can offset that state funding shortfall or deficit or reduction or whatever you want to call it. But we've looked at PIMS, work with Mr. Camarillo, Mr. Montalvo, and we are looking at the numbers just to make sure that they're correct, because we want to make sure that the information we have so far for the first 6 weeks is as accurate as possible, and at this point we think it is. So we'll see the next 5-6 weeks, and we'll keep tracking of the 6 weeks as they go by, and then continue to monitor it. But yeah, the first 6 weeks usually gives you a good indication as to how how our enrollment is, and we get it on a weekly basis. I'm not sure if Mr. Mijares gives it to the board, but we get that on a weekly basis on the enrollment. And we started pretty slow at the beginning, and now I think we're at about 800 less than the previous year, right? And I think the first week we started, we really got scared because it was not 12 million, it was like 30 million. Yeah.
So, Mr. Mijares, just to clarify, if we actually gain back those 800 students that we lost, that would bring us back $6 million and at least offset 6 of the $12 million? Is what we're looking at?
If you get 800 kids.
Based on enrollment?
Yeah, you get those 800 kids more, you're right. It'll offset it by 6.5 million. Anything you get above or anything that reduces the reduction, yes. And we're hoping that our attendance is going to get better. In essence, if we were, and let's talk about numbers, very simple. You have two variables there that are directly correlated to the average daily attendance, the enrollment, and sometimes you cannot do anything about the enrollment, but we can about the attendance. If you're, like you said there, if we were able to increase the attendance back to what it was, we would not get it for the first 6 weeks, but we might get it for the second, the third. We're still early in the budget. And I know the directors, Mr. Camarillo, Mr. Cox, they've been calling me because we do put money out to increase our attendance, and that was not cut. Because we felt that in the last 2 years that we've had our cost savings, we have not cut the incentives for attendance. They've been left intact. So if we were to do that, yeah, if we were to increase at least the attendance by 5%, whatever it is, it's gonna offset it quite a bit. And it's gonna offset it, like Mr. Mijares said, on the FTEs, because if the attendance is not there, you cannot get the ADA and you cannot get the FTEs. You just lose it. So that's a very good point, that we do have, we can control our destiny in that way, that we were hit in both areas that directly affect our average daily attendance.
Thank you.
Any other questions? If not, we will move to action items. Number 1, consider and take appropriate action on the request to adopt Resolution 2021-22-04 to nominate candidates to serve as Board of Directors of the Maverick County Appraisal District, MCAD. Mr. Mijares?
Yes, this is something that I think we bring up every 2 years. So I don't know if the board wants to nominate and keep the same.
I believe currently we have Martinez, Mr. Hiller, and Ms. Fuentes. And I nominate to keep all 3, if they'd like to. Would you like to serve?
I accept.
I'll accept.
Not accept. I mean, y'all accept. I accept, you all accept it. So I guess that's my motion, to keep the 3 that are there.
I so move.
We have a second. All in favor? Motion passes unanimous. Thank you. Number 2, consider and take appropriate action on the request to submit a low attendance days waiver for Eagle Pass ISD to the Texas Education Agency.
Yes, this is a waiver so that we can, anytime we have a variation of 10% or more, we can ask TEA for a waiver. We had one of those days at Memorial Junior High, so we are asking for that waiver. If you have any questions, Mr. Camarillo is available.
Any questions? If not, do we have a motion?
So moved.
A motion by Trustee Hiller. Do we have a second?
Second?
Second by Trustee Martinez. If no other questions, all in favor? All opposed? Motion passes unanimous.
Mr. Barrett, I'd just like to comment on regarding that day. I'd like to commend our police officers and our school for doing a great job in keeping our
Correct.
children safe. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Number 3, consider and take appropriate action on the request to approve the contract with Advanced Education Cardonex to provide subscription, implementation, best practices training, and technical assistance for the school year to build 2022-2023 schedules and staff plans, Produce a staff analysis report to show where EPISD is understaffed, overstaffed.
Yes, Mr. President, this is an item to build our master schedules at the high schools. It is a contract, I believe, for 2 years. Is that correct, Mr. Camarillo? 1 year? And it renewals are a little bit less expensive. So any questions, Mr. Camarillo is available to answer them.
Is this the same one we had big, bad troubles with this year?
No, ma'am. This is a separate master schedule builder that would allow us to build all our courses off-site based on our tallies that we do manually now. We collect the information, we do tallies, and we do everything basically manually right now. And then we enter it into the system you were calling right now, Ascender. And then we do our first run. And then whether we're at 70%, 80%, then we give all our error reports to our counseling staff, and then they have to do the schedule fixing. What this product will do is allow all 4 secondary campuses to build their master schedule offsite, run it however they want to do it, and then after they get it to 80, 90%, because what it does is every time that you put a class in a certain slot and you put things in certain places, basically it's like a big old tag board with classes. It gives you conflicts. If you put this class here, it's going to have, 3 students are going to have a conflict with this class. And then if I move it to second period. So as you build your master schedule, you build it to the best capacity that is possible, and they guarantee that our first run will be over 90%, and that's their success rate. Typically, our first runs are in the high 70s or in the low 80s. So, and it also has some other features built in to where if you increase enrollment in a class, you set your limits and your boundaries for your classes. It can tell you how many, if you're overstaffed or you're understaffed in that particular department, in that particular area. So it's pretty neat. And that's why we're asking for and recommending and asking for your approval tonight.
And Mr. Camarillo, who has looked at the program already?
I'm sorry?
Who has studied this program already? From
Yes.
administration?
Who's looked at it?
They have about, I think they said around 30 to 40 school districts, and we have access. They're actually, it's the same company that runs our testing software, Test Hound, and they're very, very effective. I have complete faith in them. They do one heck of a job with my testing program when it comes to scheduling. The company itself has been established since 2015, and right now they have about half of the school districts in Texas that they service for testing.
Mr. Camarillo, I think the question was that if the administrative team, you yourself, Mr. Cox,
Yes,
counselors,
we've
looked at
met
it.
several times. I initially brought this company to the attention of the high school principals and to the head counselors, and then about a couple of weeks ago, Mr. Cox had a call from the sales rep, and then we revisited. We did include the 2 principals, the 2 head counselors, and they are in agreement of bringing this on board to help them and facilitate master schedule building in far less time. The more we have time in advance in the spring to be able to run that master schedule, we can, do all these things and predict what can happen if, a teacher leaves, if we move a class from first period to third period, how many kids are going to have conflicts, so forth and so on. And one of the questions that I asked was, can we run it simultaneously after we import, for example, after we do our run and we actually generate our schedules for the school year, and let's say that a teacher retires, we can also go and say, hey, if we remove this teacher and we distribute the kids here, how many kids are actually going to be affected? if we move calculus from first period to third period because that teacher left, how many kids will not be able to take that class? And we can do that in a matter of seconds rather than going and finding everybody's schedule and trying to figure out manually. So it's a really neat program.
Okay. Any other questions? Now, do we have a motion?
I so move.
We have a motion by trustee Purcell. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second by trustee Fuentes. All in favor? All opposed? Motion passes unanimous.
Thank you.
Thank you. Now we will move to consent items. We will take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 together. Any questions? No questions? Do we have a motion?
So move.
We do have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second. All in favor? All opposed? Motion passes unanimous. Please thank HEB and
Donors choose.
Donors Choose for their donations. Go ahead.
Yes, before we go into executive session, I would like to thank all the principals for Principals Month. Congratulations. I think that our district is moving in the right direction because of the work you do day in and day out. Our jobs are very difficult. Sometimes, we're handling 3 or 4 things at a time. It is difficult to sometimes, right now with the situation we have with COVID, the situation we have with the learning loss, and yet we have stepped up to the plate. I have full confidence in the job that you're doing, and I know that we will get past through this, and our kids will be successful. So thank you for everything you do.
Thank you. At this moment, the Board of Trustees of Eagle Pass Independent School District will convene in closed session as authorized by the Texas Government Code, Chapter 551, to deliberate upon the following matters. Number 1, the board will hear the request to hire personnel to fill vacancies pursuant to TGC 551.074. And number 2, consultation with attorney regarding district construction projects, TGC 551.071. Do I have a motion to convene in closed session?
So move.
We have a motion by Ms. Fuentes, trustee Fuentes, and a second by trustee Martinez. All in favor? Motion passes. The time is 6:12, and the date is Tuesday, October 12, 2021, and the Board of Trustees is now in closed session. No action will be taken in closed session. The time is 6:49 PM. The date is Tuesday, October 12th, 2021. And the Board of Trustees of the Eagle Pass Independent School District is now in open session, and we will move to item number 10. Item number 1, consider and take appropriate action on the request to hire personnel to fill vacancies pursuant to TGC 551.074.
I move to approve the request to hire personnel to fill vacancies pursuant to TGC 551.074 as discussed in closed session.
We have a motion by Trustee Purcell.
Second.
We have a second by Trustee Hiller. Any questions? If not, all in favor? All opposed? Motion passes, unanimous. Item number 2, consultation with attorney regarding district construction projects.
Mr. President, I move to authorize the superintendent to consult with the district's attorneys and take appropriate action in the district's construction litigation, and that Mr. Perry and Mr. Jorge Barrera assist the superintendent in the matter.
We have a motion.
Second.
We have a second by Trustee Fuentes. Any questions? All in favor? All opposed? Motion passes unanimous. We will now go to correspondence and information. School board members continuing education and credit hours. And I will read this. Under Board of State Education Rule, completing required continuation education year, each year of service is a basic obligation and expectation of any sitting board member. And exceeding required continuing education, board member Hilda P. Martinez exceeded the required amount of continuing education training by 4 hours. Board member Dr. Hector Alvarez exceeded the requirement amount of continuing education training hours by 2. Board member Lupita Fuentes exceeded the required amount of continuing education training by 2 hours. Board member Glenna Purcell exceeded the required amount of continuing education training by 1 hour. Board member Christopher Hiller exceeded the required amount of continuing education training by 4 hours. Board member Victor E. Perry exceeded the required amount of continuing education training by 4 hours. Board member Jorge Barrera exceeded the required amount of continuing education training by 3 hours. So everyone is up to date with their hours or exceeded. Congratulations. Mr. Mijares, any other correspondence or any other information?
Yes,
Ahí está.
Yes,
we
Está apagado.
just a reminder, CC Wynn High School Homecoming Parade is this Thursday at 6:30 at San Juan Plaza. Friday, Eagle Pass High School plays Alexander at Laredo at 7. Also Friday, CC Wynn High School plays Laredo Martin Tigers here at the SAC at 7:30, and it's the homecoming game. We have a community breakfast October 20th. Please let us know if you need tickets. And Eagle Pass High School Homecoming Parade will be October 20th at 6:30 at San Juan Plaza. Please confirm attendance.
We move to adjournment. Do we have a motion?
I so move.
We have a motion by Trustee Purcell. Do we have a second? By Trustee Perry. All in favor? Motion passes. The time is 6:53, and this meeting is adjourned.